Well, here we are, Overreaction Sunday once again, and unfortunately, this one is going to be a very negative overreaction video. Look, Alabama went out last night and got their butts absolutely handed to them by Vanderbilt. They got bullied up front all game long. They made no adjustments on the defensive side of the ball, and it was just a very, very poor game from Alabama. Honestly, one of the most embarrassing games I can remember as an Alabama fan. We're going to go into all of the overreactions. We're going to pick the top 5 from, social media. Some of them are mine as well. I'm going to tell you if they're fair, and I'm going to tell you if they are, a little bit over the top and, a little bit out of there. But before we get into it, guys, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I don't go out there and tweet my entire life away. But I do put all of our Alabama Football Report content out there on Twitter. So give me a follow. It's Chris at Chat Sports. Make sure you follow me right now. First overreaction for this Overreaction Sunday. The defense just sucks. And for me, this is not an overreaction whatsoever. The defense played absolutely terrible yesterday, and there was nothing that you could do about it from beginning to end. Well, there possibly could have been something that you could do about it, but you did nothing. You didn't go out there and you didn't make any kind of adjustments throughout the entire game. You played, 3 down defensive linemen. I saw multiple times, there were times where they had Tim Smith out there as an edge rusher and you had Tim Keenan, as the nose guard. And why you have Tim Smith out there as an edge rusher, I have no idea. But when you give up this amount of yards and can't do anything about it, let's just call it what it is. I mean, it's a cookie-cutter high school offense, and Alabama just could not stop them at the end of the day. They played absolutely terrible. I know it's, this weird offense that you don't see a lot, and when you go up against the Georgias and the Tennessees, you're not really going to see things like that. But look, at the end of the day, they're an inferior team. They are not supposed to be as good as you, and they went out there and they absolutely whipped your behinds. And the biggest key to this game was the fact that Alabama could not get off the damn field on third downs. Vanderbilt was 12 for 18 on third downs, and we thought from last week that they were going to do something a little bit different because, Georgia went out there and they were very successful on fourth downs. You really thought that those late down opportunities was going to be a real emphasis in practice this week, and it looks like they didn't go out there and practice at all. Vanderbilt had the ball for 42 minutes. If, the opposing team has the ball for 42 minutes, there's a pretty damn good chance that you're going to lose that ball game, and you absolutely did last night in embarrassing fashion. So instead of doing like a confidence level in the defense right now, because honestly it's pretty low, I'm going to switch it up. Can the defense turn things around? I'm going to try to be a little bit more positive here. Type Y for yes or N for no. Do you think the defense can turn things around? It is the pinned comment of today's video, so you know what that means. If that ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Go down there and let me know what you guys think. Overreaction number 2, Alabama has a culture issue post Nick Saban. Look, I'm not there yet right now, but look, there are absolutely some issues that Kalen DeBoer has got to get on top of, and he has got to fix. Being the head man, being the head coach, it is your responsibility to make sure things are really running right. Look, what Malachi Moore did at the end of the game last night is absolutely unacceptable. I mean, he goes out there, pitches a hissy fit like a 7-year-old, throws his mouthpiece, starts yelling at some of his defensive teammates. And look, I like the fire and I like the passion. I like that you're trying to be a leader. But then you go out there on the last play of the game when Vanderbilt is trying to take a knee. The referee spots the ball and you kick it 10 yards downfield. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then Kane Womack goes out there, tries to take Malachi Moore out of the game and put Bray Hubbard in there for the final play. And Malachi Moore is having nothing for it. He, makes sure Bray Hubbard goes back to the sidelines. That is absolutely ridiculous. And look, I hate trying to compare things to, the way Nick Saban did it because I don't think that's really fair. But look, at the end of the day, if that was a Nick Saban coach team last night, they would have Nick Saban would have went out there, he would have called timeout, he would have yanked Malachi Moore's ass out of that game and sent him to the locker room. You also had Jaden Roberts, who, he got pulled a couple times in that game last night, whether or not it was specifically for, how well or how bad he was playing in the game. Alabama's offensive line was not very good. But look, he got pulled a couple times, and then at the end of the game when Vanderbilt fans rushed the field, rightfully so. Vanderbilt absolutely had every reason to rush the field last night, and I'm not a big rush in the field guy, but when you go out there as an unranked team and you beat the number one team in the country that you hadn't beat since 1984, you deserve to rush the field. Twice, Kalen DeBoer had to track down Jaden Roberts and pull him away from somebody and tell him to go to the locker room. That is absolutely ridiculous. And look, to kind of piggyback off of some of those things, I know in this, era of NIL, look, social media is how a lot of these players make a lot of their NIL money, and that's how Ryan Williams does it. And look, Ryan Williams went out there and had 3 receptions for 82 yards or something like that. He played pretty well, dropped a ball that got overturned on 3rd and 14 that could have extended the drive, but, that's neither here nor there. Look, this is just my opinion. No social media anymore for the rest of the season for these guys. I know that's a long shot. I know that's not going to happen. I know the New Wave podcast is going to keep going every single week. But look, man, it's a distraction. It is absolutely a distraction. And look, I mean, like I said, I know it's how a lot of these players, make money in NIL. But you go back to Bryce Young, he made a lot of money in NIL too. And that guy never tweeted at all. So look, something has got to change. I don't think it's necessarily, a big, cultural issue quite yet, but, they're a little bit down the line. If things like this keep happening, it could turn into something like that. Guys, today's show is presented by Game Time. Game Time even has a new feature now called Game Time Picks that I absolutely love. It makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks is just curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concert. I love going to stand-up comedy shows. They've got those. They've also got tickets to see theater and so much more. Prices on the Game Time app go down the closer you get to the start of the event. Game Time has killer last-minute deals. They have all-in prices. Views from your seat and the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time even has the best ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and redeem promo code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Check out GameTime.co for last-minute tickets. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem promo code CHATSPORTS, that's ChatSports, for $20 off your first purchase. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Download Game Time today, because what time is it? It's game time. Overreaction number 3 after Vanderbilt beats Alabama. Our O-line is soft as baby shit. This is not an overreaction whatsoever. They played terrible again. Look, how many years now is this in a row where Alabama's offensive line is not, let's just be honest, they are not very good. They go out there and they talk all this, I'm not going to say they talk shit, but they talk a lot in the offseason about the fact that they're going to go out there and they're going to dominate teams and they're going to go back to being some of those offensive line, of the past for Alabama. And then they just go out there and they lay an egg. Alabama can't get the run game going yet again. You got Elijah Pritchett. Really, one of the only times he got beat last night was on that, sack strip fumble where Jalen Milroe fumbled the ball. But, man, if you can't get this running game going, it is going to be a long season for Alabama. And I'm going to be honest, it's not just on the offensive line. It is also on this system and this play calling as well. Look, if you have 2 of the best running backs in the SEC on your team and only give them the ball 9 times on the ground, that is absolutely unacceptable. These guys have to get the ball more at the end of the day. Look, Justice Haynes, last couple games, hasn't really been able to get anything going. That's fine. That's whatever. But when Jam Miller is going out there and he's still averaging whatever that math is right there, 6 yards per carry, 5 carries for 45 yards, you have got to get this guy the ball more, whether the offensive line is, playing extremely well or not. Because at the end of the day, they were playing well enough for Jam Miller to be able to run the ball. So I mean, kind of going back to, some of those things that I saw during the game last night, when Alabama was backed up, inside their own 5-yard line, they tried to run the ball a couple of times. And at the end of the play, you're getting stuffed and you got Tyler Booker, Jaden Roberts. Everybody's just laying on the ground. But, what is going on, man? We have better players than them. But last night, offensively and defensively, you absolutely got big boyed up front. There are no ifs, ands, ors, or buts about it. Look, Vanderbilt went out there and they won the battle of the trenches on both the defensive and offensive sides of the ball. And look, there's going to have to be a lot of soul searching. There's going to have to be a, players only meeting, because this kind of stuff cannot keep happening, as the season goes on. Because if you're losing the battle up front to Vanderbilt, what's going to happen down the line? What's going to happen if you get into the college football playoffs, if you make it to the SEC championship, if you have to play a Texas team, or, if you have to play that Georgia team again? They're going to come back with a fire in their ass ready to beat you. And if you're going to let them bully you like Vanderbilt did last night, it is going to be a long season down the road for the Crimson Tide. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We were live last night for that unfortunate game, and we're going to continue to go live for every single game. Got South Carolina next week. We'll see what happens there. But we're only 50 subscribers away from hitting that 20,000 subscriber mark. So help me out. Make sure you hit that sub button for me. That's youtube.com/@RollTideTV. Overreaction number 4. I saw this one a lot on social media. Look, the season is over. Look, I think this is a massive overreaction. The season is absolutely not over quite yet. Look, this is a 12-team playoff this year. You have a little bit more wiggle room than you did in the past. And, you can kind of think of it as a wake-up call, to an extent as well. There's a lot of coaches that go out there that end up being successful, that end up losing very embarrassing games like this. You go all the way back to that ULM game in 2007 that Nick Saban lost. You can go back to when Nick Saban was at LSU. They lost to UAB at home. So there are, the coaches can go through things like this and they can overcome them. But look, the season is not over, quite yet anyways. There's a long way to go. This Alabama team, maybe this is exactly what they needed after that win last week against Georgia. Thought they were invincible. They ate up the rat poison all week long, apparently. But for right now, I think this is a massive overreaction. So Alabama was ranked number 1 overall, but they lost to Vanderbilt last night, so they're definitely going to go down in the rankings. So let me know, how far do you think they're going to fall? I don't think they fall outside the top 10. You had multiple teams last night in the top 25 lose big games. Tennessee lost a big game. Michigan lost a game yesterday as well. So, I don't think they're going to fall outside the top 10, but let me know right now in the comment section where you think Alabama should be ranked after that loss against Vanderbilt. Overreaction number 5, and I cannot believe we are here again, but I keep seeing it on social media. I saw it in our live chat last night during the game. To bench Jalen Milroe. I don't know how you get here. I genuinely do not know how anybody gets to this assumption from watching last night's game. Look, the offense last night had the ball for 17, make it 18 minutes. And they went out there and scored 35 points. That's pretty solid. There are some things that you can point to, in regards to the offense. Weren't really able to run the ball that well. You had the interception, the pick 6 early in the game, but really I'm putting that on Ryan Williams. He's got to catch the ball there. It goes right off his helmet and, bounces up in the air. Vanderbilt makes a good play on it and returns it for 6. The fumble, you can give that to Jalen Milroe a little bit. Elijah Pritchett got absolutely smoked off the line of scrimmage. But look, the pressure was coming at Jalen Milroe's face. He's got to be able to step up in the pocket and, make some kind of play out of it. Hell, take the sack for all I care. But what you cannot do in that situation when you're trying to go down the field and you're trying to, let's be honest, they were trying to go down there and take their first lead of the game. You cannot turn the ball over in that instance. You also had that 3rd and long where Jalen Milroe was able to kind of make a play out of it, but then he's a yard past the line of scrimmage before he throws that deep ball to Jeremy Bernard. So there are things that you can point to where, yeah, Jalen Milroe could have been better than that, but he goes out there and he throws for 300 more yards in the game. He was extremely efficient, 18 for 24. So, look, I don't see how you could say that this game was Jalen Milroe's fault. At the end of the day, it comes down to the defensive scheme, and it comes down to Kane Womack, and it comes down to Kalen DeBoer and that coaching staff not being able to make adjustments in this game.